Virgo, hope you're doing well. We're looking at your place in the universe. We're going to try. um, I believe it's multidimensional, that it evolves as well as somewhat. So I think it's related to what you do, where you are, who you're with, when, and maybe why you're doing the things that you do. So keep that in mind, because obviously I'm only going to offer you a glimpse, as I don't pretend to be able to give you all the answers here. So let's just start. You got 2 cards on the first oracle deck. I will keep them. One is Anunnaki light codes, and it says energetic shift, new information, end of a cycle. Let me show you. And then you have Shambhala initiations, retreating to recharge, trusting in the process, and Dharma. Interesting. I'm correlating energetic shift with the retreating to recharge. You're at the end of the cycle, so maybe you're taking it just like Jupiter is about to is doing in these next few days, being at the very end of Pisces. He's sort of like at the end of that cycle, the end of the whole natural zodiac, and then he's going to be able to step into Aries on December 20th. So there's something happening in the next few days where you're like sort of taking all that energy in. So I'm using this time frame, which is extremely short, which is quote unquote seems to have no bearing on your place in the universe, but who knows, it might. I feel that ingress of Jupiter into Aries shows you that there's an energetic shift. So you might have specific placements at the end of Pisces, at the beginning of Aries, or the opposite signs, or the squaring signs. You want to look at that if you know astrology enough. Let's keep drawing. I do want to say that the fact that I'm mentioning this particular transit occurring in the next few days, I think you might sense it in terms of what you're wanting to do next fairly soon, and specifically, entering into the new year of 2023. So maybe your place in the universe is even more evident for you at the moment. You probably feel it, see it, you can touch it. When you want something so bad, you're like, oh, I can smell it, I can touch it, sort of like that, but you're not quite there. But it's so close. Nice, one flew out. I hope you saw that. It reads, deep replenishment, retreat, rest, and be held. Okay, 2 cards that say the same thing, right? So retreating to recharge. This is quite literal here. Both movements, retreat to recharge, to rest. So I would quote unquote take it very seriously, in the sense that if it's being emphasized here by the cards, it really means you would benefit from it. And I suspect that as you rest, as you retreat and recharge, I don't think there's going to be much happening, and that's the point, because it's all going to be like very deep within, maybe even fully unconscious, but at least partially unconscious. It's definitely subconscious. But there's going to be something happening anyway, even if you don't see it. At least you might feel it, sense it, and even if you don't sense it, know that the universe is working for you in terms of your place in the universe. Because this is very 12th house energy in terms of symbolism of the 12th house, right? Okay, you have four cards turned. I'm going to start with those. We have, okay, the Lovers in reverse. Let me show you the card. This is the Bosch Tarot. So Bosch being a Dutch painter from the late 15th into the 16th century. These drawings are particularly eccentric. Most of the characters most of them are not human. Landscapes are full of color. Really, really weird. Okay, Death is in reverse. I'm going to show you the card. I always show the cards, but I think that for this deck, it's even more on point, right? Seven of Swords in reverse. This is what the card looks like. And then the Three of Wands in reverse. So I'm noticing that we have a couple of humans on the Lovers, then we have a skeleton on Death, and then we have two characters that are just like non-human, right? On the Seven of Swords and the Three of Wands, both in reverse. All cards are in reverse, actually. So give me a quick second here. I would like to think this through before I speak. Feel it out. I think the retreat and rest and recharge that we've been seeing come up with the Oracle is kind of being felt here on the Death card as something that I feel recurs oftentimes. It kind of does for all of us, so don't worry. It's not just about you, or it's not, it doesn't only happen to you. But Death is in reverse, so it's an energy of where you need to, how can I say this? You do want to stay in that energy. It's almost like you need to want to stay there. Like it's voluntary, right? At least because it's beneficial. In terms of your place in the universe, I just want to point out, although the cards are in reverse, I will use the global meaning of the card because I don't want to make it just like especially in your case, right? The cards are all in reverse. I do want to give you something that's in line with what your purpose here would be, right? I feel that you're someone that has the potential of having many, many choices in life. And that's going to be very recurrent, or it will recur more than once. I even think that it applies to your place in the universe, that you might decide to literally have, I want to say, phases in your life where you're quite different from the previous one, right? Maybe more than other people, although some people do that or have lives like that where they have great changes, and their life really, at least to an outsider, will look very different depending on the period of time that you look at for them. But in your case, it's always based on a choice, and it's about what you love to do. It's always there as something that is being offered to you by the universe. And you're always going to be in a position where you're going to be able to decide if you stay or if you move on. So, and when you're ready to move on, then the transformation occurs, and then you get to a different place, doing something else, etc., living a different life. But there's also the idea with death in reverse that you are being asked to sometimes stay in a particular choice that you've made until you sense that it's really fully ended. So I feel that ending of cycles and beginning of cycles are very important for you, and I think that threshold is why I intuitively wanted to talk to you about the important transit that is occurring in the next few days. Because it's also, when you think of it, Jupiter being at the end of Pisces, it's impacting you greatly, because it's Pisces is opposite sign to you, right? So as Jupiter ingresses into Libra, it leaves the opposition to your sign. It'll move into opposition to Libra. And so anyways, hope you follow me on that. I hope you know enough astrology to understand that little piece. But overall, essentially, endings of cycles and beginning of any new cycle for you always rests on a personal choice, and yet the choice is almost imposed on you because death in reverse is here, and life will make sure that you really, really exhaust, if you want, everything that comes with the previous cycle before entering the new one. So it might sound like a general statement that, yes, I do agree, could apply to any ending of cycles and any beginning of new cycles for anybody. But it's really emphasized here for you. So let's look at the minor arcanas and see what they what they reveal here. I think the Seven of Swords is not always fully negative, right? Especially in reverse, I guess. I think I want to bring it back to link it to you having choices and you being asked to stick around to the end of every cycle, because you might have a tendency sometimes to want to cut corners or finish something quicker and just get on with it, right? So you tend to want to kind of I don't know, shy away from it, or but the energy is to wait longer. The Three of Wands is in reverse, but I told you I'm gonna take the whole meaning of the card here. So again, you need to be patient, you need to wait it out, you need to make sure that, let's say that you think about the ships arriving on this card as, okay, well, now I know the cycle is really ended and the ships have hit the shore. Now I can embark and like start the new cycle. Because I like to imagine sometimes that when the ships come in to shore, they will go back out. Most of the merchant ships would actually come in, deliver goods, also load, and then leave again. And then, so I think there's always that movement. And this is what I'm sensing about your choices and about going through different phases in life. So in your case, I do agree, it sounds like a general statement. And I'm not really pinpointing exactly your place in the universe, maybe because by what I'm describing, you will have more than one big change, right? So let's keep developing and see if we can get any more information of, okay, that's another 4 cards, I think. 5. You get the 10 of Cups, it's in reverse. You get the Emperor. The 3 of Swords in reverse. The 2 of Pentacles in reverse. Sorry, I don't know if you... I'll show you the 3 of Swords upright. And the 10 of Swords in reverse. You see, you have 2 10s. I think for me it's reinforced. Your life is full of chapters of endings and beginnings. You always have choices. You're always between two. You're always having to evaluate. It's almost like always having a fork in the road at, you know, we kind of all do. I mean, I'm so sorry. It does sound extremely general and very vague. I'm very conscious of that as I'm reading this for you, but that's what the cards are really pointing to. So I think you have somewhat the ability to be in a position of authority. I mean, it's the only upright card in this whole 9 card spread here in the tarot, with the tarot cards, right? So for me, it's even stronger. It shows that you're able to be a leader. You're able to be someone that people respect and go to. And it might be because I just heard King Solomon. So, you know, King Solomon was renowned for people coming to him, and he would be obviously, like other kings, the one that would make a final judgment because people had disputes, or they would, you know, want for the king to solve XYZ for them, right? No matter what that was. But I believe he was renowned for being very just and fair, and he was sought out because his judgment was impeccable, his ethics. So I believe this is you. The Emperor is extremely in a strong position here, being the only card upright. You have 2 cards telling me that you're often in positions of making choices. So maybe really people come to you for that final choice, for that final advice. I think that you're more comfortable, and it's going to be contradictory, but you're comfortable with endings of cycles and beginnings of cycles, but at the same time, you've had your share of those still impacting you as greatly, you know, like the experience that you've gained about being so good with analysis and being fair and being able to really being impartial, if you want. That experience came with you going through some harsh ending yourself and seeing the good and the bad and everything. And I think most of the, how can I say this? I want to say like the juice of it, like the maybe the last gems of, or the best gems of that experience came when you were really reaching the end of those cycles for yourselves, the one that you've gone through, where you really were able to access, maybe as you were resting, as you were recharging, retreating, knowing that you had to be in a very, even if you felt stuck about it, right? Not wanting to escape, being patient with waiting for what needed to come, but really giving yourself the chance to extract what was really, what is, will be, because you are going to keep going through these cycles, the most extremely valuable for you, and in turn that you're able to share with others. I think you went through some very painful experiences with 3 of Swords in reverse, 10 of Swords upright, 10 of Cups in reverse. So lots of unhappiness for you in love specifically. The Lovers did come out in reverse. So that is maybe one particular area where you were impacted most. What I really do appreciate, there's 2 3s on the table and 2 10s, right? But for me, the 2 3s, you might have been in a situation where, so I'm not going to say the typical, that other people were involved. It could be, but for me, it's more of, you might not agree, but I'm still going to speak my mind here. When I see 3s, I see that people share outside of just, a one-on-one exchange. So for me, it means that there's an opening to sharing your experience with yet another person, right? Passing on the information, passing on the experience, what you thought was valuable, the wisdom, the advice. I tend to see 3s like that, on a more philosophical, I guess, from a philosophical viewpoint, but I'm okay if you don't agree. And hence why I want to keep saying that I think you have a gift for passing on, sharing, and being a good person of counsel, right? You're a good advisor. I also think that it made you mature greatly, quite fast, and you probably come across as very, like an old soul kind of thing. Also, I feel that with the energies of the 10s, as well as the Emperor card, there's something very definite and determined, because 10s are finality, right? So, but it's like saying, when you decide something, you might be evasive and always be, you might need to exercise patience with yourself, with just life in general, with those particular cycles that you go through, especially when you reach the end. Give yourself the time to rest, knowing exactly what's going on. I think you're going to start recognizing what's happening. But I think you also need to value, how can I say this? almost like, I'm sorry, I had to pause really long for this one. I'm not sure how to say it to you. It's like, because it's like a difficult experience for you, right? And so I'm not sure. Okay, this is, I'm gonna say it, but I really want you to take that with a huge grain of salt. It's almost like you don't do it consciously, but it's almost like your soul is pushing you in particular directions or towards people, situations, whatever it is, but almost like your soul is the one like asking of you this experience, or putting you through these difficult cycles, right? Or maybe especially in terms of relationships. I don't know how you could perceive that as being your place in the universe, okay? Because it's not easy, and but our higher self kind of knows best. At least I like to think so. So it's difficult for me to tell you that, because obviously I wish all the best to you, of course, and I want you to have the most beautiful experiences. But there's something there that you have a particular. I'm not sure I want to use the word karma, but maybe it could be used in this context. You do have death on the table, so it's like constant transformation, like there's death and rebirth that's reoccurring more than once in your life. So it's almost like the karmic wheel, right? Of needing to learn specific lessons, and maybe your higher self, with the Lover's card here, is trying to put you in alignment, right? So putting you in those situations. But again, take that with a grain of salt, because overall it's another generality, I think, because most of us will go through karma, especially if you do believe in past lives, or like the fact that we live on and we come back. I do think you're an excellent communicator, because for me, like I said, the threes symbolize, well, you can by extension apply it to the third house. So Gemini energy, Mercurial energy, you're ruled by Mercury as well. So I think that was the whole point of me telling you that you're able to open up to others, share your experience, send the information out there, so that those difficulties that you went through weren't lived or experienced in vain, if you want. So it's like having a particular role of enduring, learning resilience, learning to recognize the cycles, becoming more and more judicious in your choices, in making choices, and helping others in making choices, being extremely, becoming an expert, becoming the person of with the best, with the most, how can I say, like with the most experience that people actually go to and almost look up to for that, like a real counselor. And I don't want to necessarily point to one particular trade or like career and everything. That could be so different, for all of you. So I don't want to make it too specific, but think of it as counselor as, the large definition of, being a good counselor. one more card here out of a different oracle deck, and then we'll close the reading. Two slipped. I'm gonna take them. This deck is in French, but I will translate. It's incredible. You get stagnation. I mean, this is the retreat, recharge, retreat, rest energy. It's death in reverse energy. It's the Three of Wands in reverse. Like, it's all this giving yourself the time to, and it's a 12, and I mentioned to you, it's such a 12th house energy. It's really, really incredibly emphasized here. And just to point out, like, just to really like show you how much it's important, how much number 12 would be important, how much number 3 would be important, because 1 and 2 is 3. You know, Pisces is the 12th sign, right? So that is super crucial in terms of the transit that's occurring and all of the symbolism of this particular reading. So the words are, I'm going to show you the card for those who speak French. So alienation, being in an impasse, I guess a dead end, stagnation, resistance, immobilization, feeling like mistrust, right? So that could be a little bit of that Seven of Swords energy. But I feel that you're able, those are part of the gems that you actually extract, learning how to, first of all, become aware of those cycles and become aware of, okay, this is happening, this is closing out, let's see what I can really grab here, let's see what's the best way to get something out of it and what's really valuable to me. And eventually that will become for others as you share it later on. Okay, the other card is before the accomplishment. So avant l'accomplissement, which is really interesting because, like I said, this is the energy of you right at the end of the, so the accomplishment could be seen as the new cycle, you know, the success to come, the thing that you will move into next that will totally shift the energy, as we read prior. So it does, the keywords are quite interesting. I'm going to show you for those who speak French. Oh, and 6 is 4 is 10, and we had 2 10s here. That's pretty, the numbers are really working, like there's many repetitions here. Okay, it speaks of uncertainty, doubt and hesitation, all of that choice and, you know, not being sure, you know, on the Lovers and the 2 of Pentacles in reverse. That's being reiterated again. It points to a loss of confidence, of course, because it's a difficult moment. So it'll create a lot of, I'm telling you, it's about building resilience, truly. In stable conditions, extreme vigilance, and it even points to discord. So it's all I want to say, like the energies that are like the final push, or the final, almost like all of that unraveling. It's not really unraveling. It's more, because unraveling is like things that unfold. Let me say it differently. It's more of everything that needs to be sort of cleared out at the end of a cycle. That's why it's about retreating and recharging. It's like you feel all those energies coming to, like, you know, that are pressing, that are, okay, I need to clear those out so that I get closure, that the cycle really closes out. And that particular, I want to say, purification or process is, for sure being expressed here with the Death card, but it's also the fact that you're sorting out what needs to be, like I said, what you need to extract that is really, really important for you, in terms of growth, in terms of passing on, right? Passing on like something to others. It's crazy that these two cards, I mean, look at this deck. There's like so many cards, right? And then you get two cards and they're really, really, really in line with the other cards on the table. That is, I mean, it happens, but this is very strong. I do want to point that out because you might not realize, but I can tell you that I see that. That it's stagnation right before the accomplishment, right? Right before it's so in line. So I want to say that yes, there's a particular timing in terms of a few days here because of Jupiter's ingress into Aries occurring, but you can also see the shift from just walking into 2023, and I would even maybe include this energy to be maybe all the way into the spring equinox. But yet symbolically, this is just one of another big cycle or a huge phase of life that you're really completing. This is not just like because we all have like many cycles, there's many layers and there's different types of cycles and there's cycles for different types of experiences. But this one is a major closeout on a major portion of your life. There's something really huge coming. When I say huge, it's just so black and white, right? In terms of how your life was before and how it will change very soon. And I think the reading is very timely for you because I think you needed to hear that because it really points to something that I think you're going to want to we've established that you would share, right? But I'm not exactly sure what you're going to be doing next. And again, that's not the point of the reading, but I'm trying to pinpoint what I'm sensing because it's not just sharing, it's a little bit of a glow up because it's the Emperor energy and he's the only one upright. So there's a huge, the transformation is like, it's big. That's why it's huge, right? Because, I mean, it's the Emperor. So it's not a king, it's, what I guess I'm trying to express to you that you become somebody extremely important. And that, the way I said it, it could mean so many things, right? It doesn't mean just status, or it could, right? Definitely. But it also has to do with, because I think you do gain status as you gain experience. And the more you have to share with others that will also be valuable to them, I do think you gain in status. For me, I think life works very positively in this way in general. And yet, it doesn't have to be just status. It could also be in terms of the decisions you make. You're just more solid. You're just more determined. you're comfortable. There's like a huge acceptance, self-acceptance of like the you love yourself on this card. I don't know if you sense that. It's almost like you feel so good in your skin, you know, which is super, super positive here because you do go through quite a lot. And this last phase, like especially at the end of that cycle, those tight transitions, they're difficult. Those cards didn't come out for nothing, right? You can really sense there's something very particular in that energy that is not so comfortable, but that will turn into great peace eventually when you shift really fully into the new cycles, especially the new one that's coming, because there's one coming, so that's like a timing thing, but in general, in any other cycles that you'll be going through. Wow, what a reading. This was super deep, honest, and I think it's a long video. Anyways, if you've been here all along, like, thank you so much for that. Like, kudos to you. Please like the video. It really helps the channel, of course. I don't like to say that, but share, subscribe, the whole thing, right? I'll see you soon. Good night.